Have you ever felt overtrained or flat in a triathlon race? Well, it's an all too common problem, and the solution is a good taper. So by the end of this video, you're gonna have the 4 keys to an excellent taper. It'll take you in to your best triathlon yet. So what is this tapering everyone's talking about? Let's have a formal definition. Tapering is not losing your mental shit the week of a race by training too hard and screwing everything up. Okay, so a more specific definition is actually reducing your training volume or load so you can get rid of some of that fatigue that you've built up over training, but you keep the intensity and the frequency of your workouts mostly the same so you can sharpen the proverbial sword before the race. Hey, it's Eric with ewjtri bringing you a free video every week to get you to that finish line faster than you thought you could. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another video. Today we're talking about tapering, and tapering is a lot mental because it's hard to get it right. You know, you do too much that last week and you feel overtrained. You don't do enough and you just hang around and do nothing all week and you're probably going to go in flat and not have your best race that way either. When in doubt, you should do a little bit less. But how much? Well, you can go about 5 days before you really start losing fitness if you take all that time off. And in the last 10 days, no matter what you do, you can't really gain any more fitness. So, when in doubt, take a little bit more time off rather than training too hard. And one of the things you can do is not take consecutive days off, or at least not more than 2, and that way you're avoiding some of that flat feeling. A good taper will likely improve your performance by 2 to 3%. So don't get me wrong, I want every 1% that I can get, but it's not the end of the world if your taper plan doesn't go exactly the way you wanted it to. And stressing about it is not going to help it happen at all. Tapering is very individual in terms of what works best. So your B races are the ideal place to practice different methods of tapering to hone in on what works best for you. So with all this taper talk, should you even taper? Well, if you're training 3 days a week, or maybe it's your first triathlon, or your goal is just to finish, you probably don't really need to taper. A couple rest days, and you'll be fine. The more competitive you become as far as every second, every minute counts, and the more hours you spend a week training, the more likely that a taper will be beneficial to you. Okay, taper key number 1. How long do you taper for? Well, anywhere from 4 days to probably 3 weeks, depending on your race distance and you as an individual athlete and your training hours. Most off-road triathlons are equivalent to like a sprint or Olympic distance on the road as far as time it takes to finish. So you'll probably want to do anywhere from 5 days to 10 days for that taper. And then running usually takes the longest to recover from, so you could start that 10 days out. Bike, you could start about a week out, and then the swim just a couple of days, or just have an easier day or 2 of swimming and start it from there. If you're doing any strength work, cut that out 1 to 2 weeks before your A race. Great taper key number 2. You want to drop your training load 20 to 60%, and that really can vary depending on your average training hours per week over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and also the distance of race that you're doing. Now, when you also consider this, if you're doing a 10-day taper, let's say, the largest drop is going to be those first couple of days. So days 9 and 10 out from the race will be the greatest drop in reduction of volume, and then level it off so it's not so significant. So maybe you drop it 50 to 60% those first 2 days, and then the rest of the week is more like 20 to 30. Great taper key number 3. Keep the frequency of your workouts essentially the same. So if you're working out 6 days a week in the morning, essentially keep all 6 or maybe 5. And if you're doing 10 workouts a week, so you've got some of those afternoon ones, you're going to keep a lot of those afternoon workouts, but you're just reducing the overall volume. Taper key number 4 is keeping that intensity up. So you're not doing anything brand new or introducing new hard workouts. If you normally work out, 1 hard run, 1 hard bike, 1 hard swim per week, then you're going to keep that, and you're going to keep the intensity in those workouts, but you're gonna do something like 30-second to 2-minute intervals, perhaps with 30-second to 2 or 3 minute rests in between, but keeping up that intensity so you don't feel flat. And the number of reps that you do of the intervals really, again, depends on you as an individual athlete, what you've been doing in training. For most people, it's between 2 and 5 repetitions of whatever set they're doing. For those of you that stuck around past those 4 keys, I got 2 bonuses for you. Eating and sleeping. Essentially, do them as you normally would. And you might say, well, I need more energy, or I need more rest, it's race week. Well, that's true, but with a reduction in training volume, you're eating essentially the same amount of calories, getting the same sleep, you are getting that extra energy and that extra sleep that you need for race day. A specific example of a taper that I did just last month before an Xterra race was a week-long taper. So the race is on Sunday, so if you back up the week before on Sunday, I did my last brick workout and then essentially started the taper. So I wanted that significant drop in load, so that Monday I took completely off, whereas normally I would do at least 1 workout, if not 2. So that got my big reduction. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I essentially kept my normal workout times where I work out twice each of those days. Now, the Tuesday morning, I did a hard run workout where I'd been doing like 6x800s, maybe with 200 recovery. And so instead what I did is I did 4x200s with 400 recovery. So again, keeping that fast-paced intensity, a little longer recovery, much shorter workout. Then later in the day, I did an easy swim. And then Wednesday morning, I did some hard bike acceleration. So, 5 by 2 minutes at a pretty, at race pace, or a little bit faster with 3 minutes recovery. And then nothing in that Wednesday afternoon, actually. And then Thursday morning was my final hard swim, where after I got some warm up in, I did 4x100s, 4x50s, and then some 4x25s to really get the arms moving and the kick going quickly. So that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 time each day, I did those quicker accelerations, that harder workout, and then in the afternoon I either did a recovery type workout or no workout. And then Friday, 2 days before the race, I always like taking off, and that again helps reduce the volume, especially if it's a travel day or something like that. But if it's not, it's just a nice way to help get that fatigue further down. And then the day before the race, you kind of have your choice. I mean, 30 to 60 minutes of a moderate to easy workout. And this can be whatever is comfortable and what you feel best about doing depending on the race. So an example would be an easy 30-minute bike with a 15-minute easy run, or you could do a 30-minute bike with a 15-minute easy swim if that makes you more comfortable. Personally, for this last race I did, and for a lot of the races with Xterra, I want to see the bike course, and so I spend my whole 30 to 60 minutes doing the bike course, as much of it as I can, as long as it's not extremely strenuous. If there's 2 laps of the course, it's perfect, because I'll typically just do 1 lap so I can see the whole course. This last one I did was a lollipop, so right at the midpoint of the race of the lollipop, as I draw the circle here, is a really steep hill, very rocky hill. And so I didn't want to take the chance of, it's a hot day, getting injured and being stuck out there dehydrated when I'm 18 hours before the race. It's not worth it. But what I did do was I did about 30 minutes easy out on that lollipop stick part, and then turned around and came back. So I got to see that part of the course on the out and back, and felt really good about that. And so doing that, it was more of a flatter section, and so I did 4x30 of quick accelerations on that part of the course, with a couple of minutes recovery between each one, just to get that knife sharpened up and ready for the race the next morning. I hope that video was helpful for you. Put a comment below. Tell us what works, what doesn't work for your taper, and until next week, I will see you on the trails. A good taper will like your week to make reducing your training load and fatigue faster than you thought possible. Damn it. 10-day taper.